Welcome to Domain and Range, Part 1. This is an introductory video to the concepts of domain and range. And you may have seen it before, but this is just kind of an idea of what it is. Imagine yourself having a Coke machine. Okay, here you have your Coke machine, blah, blah, blah. And you go to get, and everybody knows that what comes out of the bottom here is a Coke can. Okay, we have Coke cans come out of the bottom. Okay, Coke. Yeah. All right, but the output of the machine, is its range. Okay, so the range of a typical soda machine, if we think about it, is going to be Coke, if it's a Coke machine, maybe Diet Coke, maybe Coke Zero, maybe Sprite, and who knows, maybe a Dr. Pepper or two. Okay, so this is the range of this particular Coke machine. This is what comes out of it right here. The range is what comes out of the Coke machine. But we have to figure out what we put into it. Okay, here we have our little slot up here, and maybe a little dollar bill thing here. Okay. Now, in this Coke machine, we know what comes out of it is the range. But what do we put into it? Okay, what is the input? This, of course, is the output. And this is the input, which is, of course, domain. Okay, so what goes into this machine? What goes into it is the domain. Okay, and I have a question for you. Can you put pennies in the machine? No? Okay, so pennies aren't part of the domain. Can you put dimes? Yes, dimes. Nickels. Quarters. Can you put dollar coins? No. Can you put 50-cent pieces? No. But you can put dollar bills. Can you put $50 bills? $100 bills? No. Okay, but you get the idea. This portion, what is allowed in, is very restricted to dimes, nickels, quarters, and dollar bills. And what comes out is also restricted. Okay? The Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Sprite, and Dr. Pepper. These are the ideas of domain. Domain is what goes into it. Range is what comes out of it. And we look at it in terms of this Coke machine in terms of mathematics is actually a function. And we'll start with something basic like y equals x squared minus 1. Okay? Now domain, you might remember, is the set of all x values that goes into the function. In other words, the input, like with the soda machine before. And then you have the range, which is the output. Okay? But the key is to remember that domain is x and the range is y. And the way I go about looking at these things is I say, what restrictions are on the domain, or what are you not allowed to put in? For instance, in our soda machine example, we were not allowed to put in half dollars, dollars, dollar coins, $5 bills, $10 bills. We weren't allowed to put those in. Those are the restrictions. But everything else we could, dimes, nickels, quarters, dollar bills. So we listed what we could put in. Okay, so that's really what the domain is, thinking about what you can't and what you cannot put in. In this case, because it's an x squared, we're allowed to put all things in. So in other words, we could say the domain is this is all real numbers. Now another way to look at that, and this is something you're going to see a bit in this course, is from negative infinity to infinity. Interval notation. Okay. Now the range, on the other hand, of course, are the y values of it, what comes out of it. Now, if you really think about this, these are positive numbers minus 1. So the lowest this guy goes, and if you look at the graph of it really quickly, this is what the graph would look like. Okay, so the lowest it goes is this point. And since it's a parabola, that's going to be the case. So this is really the starting point, and it keeps going up. All y values going up from here. All right, so we could say y is greater than or equal to 0, or we could say in interval notation, not 0, I apologize. Wow, look at that. It's not y greater than 0. Glad you guys caught that. It's y is greater than or equal to -1. Okay? So then you just say -1, comma, that. All right, that's the interval notation for it again. Okay? But remember, domain is what goes in, range is what comes out.